saw, then the mikveh becomes pasul, because mayim shuvim make a mikveh pasul. So this temed, this water concoction, together with the sediment, if it's considered water, then it would pasul the mikveh. If it's considered wine, it does not pasul the mikveh, because wine doesn't pasul the mikveh. Shalom Aleichem, Reb Josh. Where could he sit? We have to have a good makom for him. Right over there. Baruch atah Adonai le'mechalim, shachtoy ne'evid v'roy. All right. What? For you, we can start brachas if you want. We're holding smack in the middle of Chullin. It's a great day to start the daf. No, he's been doing the daf forever. So again, we're discussing temed. I see a bunch of people just walked in. We'll say real quickly because we have to move. We have to finish the parak today. Temed is water that you mix with wine, with grape sediments. And it starts off as water and eventually it ferments and becomes wine. If you view it as water, then it passes a mikvah. And if you view it as wine, it doesn't pass a mikvah. How do you pass a mikvah? If you have a mikvah that's slightly under 40 saw, and you introduce mayim shu'uvim, water from a well, water from the sink, 3 lug makes the mikvah pasul. 3 lug of temed, if it's considered water, would make the mikvah pasul. But if you introduce wine to a mikvah that's not 40 saw, it doesn't do anything to it. What happens if the mikvah is 41 saw or 40 plus saw, and you introduce 3 lugim of water? Nothing happens. The water becomes mikvah water. Fine. The other halacha that we learned is that if you trade in your Meiser Sheni fruit, it's too much for you to carry. You live in Tzfat. You don't want to schlep 400 pounds of apples to Yerushalayim and eat them in Yerushalayim, so you trade it in for money. The money becomes Kaddish. With that money, you go and you buy fruit in Yerushalayim. You're permitted to buy wine with that money. But you're not permitted to buy bottled water, Neviot water, you cannot buy. So if temed is considered water, you're not allowed to buy temed. And if temed is considered wine, you're allowed to buy the wine. Says the Gemara. Not only by Gemara, that's just the Mishnah. Mani mas nisan, who does the Mishnah go according to? Lo Rabbi Yehuda v'lo Rabbanan. It can't go according to Rabbi Yehuda, it cannot go according to Rabbanan. The Sanya. It says on the side in the Mesorah Shas brings down that it's a Mishnah in Maisrus, so it's actually the Snan. Hamisamed v'nosan mayim b'mida u'matzo kedei midasoi potter. A person puts in a liter of water into the grape sediments, and all he could pull out is 1 liter. There's 2 possibilities here. Either he put in water and pulled out water, or perhaps he put in water which pushed the wine out of the grapes, and that water went into the grapes, and what he pulled out was wine. Those are the 2 possibilities. Says the Gemara, Potter. He's Potter from Meiser. In other words, the Tanakama holds, he put in water and took out water. What would happen if he put in a liter of water and pulled out 1.5 liters of whatever liquid? Then he'd be Chayiv Meiser, no question. The question is, since he pulled out exactly what he put in, so maybe what he's pulling out is no different than what he put in. And what he put in is water, so you're not Chayiv Meiser on water. Rabbi Yehuda Mechayev, Rabbi Yehuda says no. Wait a minute, what happened is, you put in water, yes, you pulled out the same amount, but you pulled out something completely different called wine, or temed, whatever it is. Says the Gemara, Mani. So our Mishnah that discusses that this temed, you put water in, and the Mishnah says, well, if it fermented, it has a halach of wine. If it didn't ferment, it has a halach of water. But over here in this Mishnah in Meiser doesn't talk about hichmetz at all. It doesn't mention the word hichmetz. In other words, there's no nafkamina if this water that he pulled out was fermented or not fermented, because there's no mention of it. So mani Rabbanon who say that if he pulls out water, it's considered water. He put in water and pulled out a liter. He put in a liter of water.
Wine that's over 30 days old, because you can have wine that's fermented within.
No, we're not talking about wine. We're talking about water that went into grape sediments that turns into some sort of thing called temed. It's not even considered wine. Derech Hagav, yesterday, I have to correct myself. You were right. I looked it up. A kever, even with a tefach, it's an obvious halacha. I completely forgot. The halacha is that tumah is not bekever oila if you have a tefach above the tumah, above the mace. If you have a space of a tefach, so the tumah has where to go. But in a kever, that doesn't apply. Why? Because the tumah has nowhere to run away from. It's completely blocked in. If there's a little pipe coming out somewhere else, then on top of the kever it would be tar. But because the kever is completely blocked in, so then the tumah explodes, so to speak, even with that tefach above. So kever is always metama. You are right.
So why do they put the palatus and the tefach?
Maybe so that you don't put dirt directly on a mace. I don't know. What?
We have a kever on Pishon.
Yeah, they put those pipes.
And you got a pipe.
If you look on driving out of here, going on Kishon, you make a right by Ayala, you make a right towards the Merkaz. You'll see these giant pipes coming out of the ground. People think it's a miklat. Those are to let the tumah escape from underneath the ground.
After Kedisha, they have a whole construction detail. Like it's all the farm around here, they have a construction detail.
Yeah.
You do the tap off and then you create a pipe. They do pulse out the whole way around.
Right, but I'm saying in a typical cable, you don't have that pipe, so in Mela,
They have
it
stuff
doesn't.
coming out of the pipe sometimes. There's like smoke coming out of those pipes.
the Mason are smoking down there. Are they smoking regular cigarettes or they're just smoking that vape stuff? Says the Gemara.
Either way, it's going to kill them.
V'chein Omar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina. Now we're on Daf Chav Vav Amud Aleph. V'chein Omar Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Chanina b'shehichmitz machloikis Rabbi Yossi. Just so you should know, we have an amazing guest here from New York. He said a whole story. Avi's going to post it soon. Rabbi Yehuda Baxt. Sorry. He found us on YouTube somehow. He was looking for something on Tzitzis, found us, and he decided since he's visiting Eretz Yisrael, he's in Yerushalayim, he's going to travel there to Bet Shemesh and check us out. So we have to have a lot of cover. This is now we know the people that are watching us behind the scenes. Now there's a face to the person.
I hope you have props today.
Very schwache props. There's one inappropriate one that I might have to can because of our guest. Okay. A very interesting halacha. A person, we just learned that you could buy wine with Meiser Sheni money. The Meiser Sheni money has Kedusha. What happens when you buy something with Meiser Sheni money? The Kedusha transfers to the food that you bought, and the person that sold it to you has money that has no Kedusha on it. Now, what about Temed? We said you should not buy, the Mishnah says you can't buy Temed with Meiser Sheni money. What happens if he went and he bought the Temed with Meiser Sheni money? He was over. Now a big problem happens. The guy that sold him the Temed has in his hand money, Meiser Sheni money, that never transferred to any food. So he has money, he's stuck with money. The guy really messed him up. He gave him money that he can't use, halachically. What is he going to do with the money? He's not allowed to buy anything with it. I mean, if you could buy fruit or whatever and eat it in Yerushalayim, but it has Kedusha, this money.
Now this wine would as well.
And the wine is nothing.
Well, if it became wine, it would become.
Oh, so let's see what it says here. Says, Rabbi Baravua, Rav Nachman brings Rabbi Baravua, a very, very interesting halacha. If you were over and you bought Temed with Meiser money, here's another person that listens to us on YouTube, all the way from Nachal Noam. And guess what happened? We later on found out that he indeed bought wine. How do we know he bought wine? Because the Temed fermented. It became wine. Kana Meiser. So the money that he gave the seller becomes real. It's a real trade. In other words, he can use the money for whatever he needs, for whatever he wants. My taimo, says the Gemara, Igloi milsel mafreya de peiruhu. Incredible. So you hear what's going on here? Says the Gemara that when we find out later that the water turned into wine, so what happens is that when he bought this Temed 3 days ago, what he was buying is wine. It's not the pshat that he bought water that later on turned into wine. You hear, Chaim? There's a problem with the milk. Okay, fine.
You break it?
Yeah.
Rabbi say here, listen. If we find out later that this water turned into temed, it fermented. So what it's telling me is that at the time of purchase, you actually purchased wine. It's not that it turned into wine a couple days later. You bought wine. Just the shaila was, maybe you bought water. But now that we find that, after the fact, find out that it's wine, so you bought wine, and the whole purchase was a good purchase, and the seller, his money is 100% kosher, he can buy whatever he wants with it. Ela masnisin. What?
It works in Afreya?
It doesn't work lemafreya. What's going on here is that lemafreya was wine. It's not working lemafreya. Lemafreya was wine. When you bought water, don't think you bought water. It looked like water and smelled like water and it tasted like water. It was actually wine that just took time to come out and show its true colors.
The case with every tenant.
Yeah. If you could later on go and figure it out, that would be the case.
I thought there was a limit to the amount of
Why has it ever become
Oh.
Nisa?
Oh,
The question
so
is,
that's the Gemara is going to discuss.
Wine juice is a little bit more.
Isn't there a certain amount of water?
Enough.
Doesn't have to be a certain amount of water that you can add to grapes in order to make it wine. If it's less than that, it stays water. Even if it becomes alcoholic.
Yeah, but we'll see. It has to do also with taste, with look. Elamas nisin. So what do we do with our Mishnah? The Ktani hichmitz in, lo hichmitz lo. From the Mishnah, the wording of the Mishnah is mashma that there's no sale at all. It never happened. It says hatemed actually hichmitz until the point where it becomes fermented. Einoi nikach. It's not even a sale. Einoi nikach. So why are you telling me that it's a good mechira and we just have to wait? Omer Rabba. So one teretz of the Gemara is kishashir mimenu bekois velo hichmitz. Yeah, you're right. We have to have a sample. We take a sample, we put it on the side, and we wait. If that sample never ferments, then that's what the Mishnah means, that the mechir is never chal. Rav Omar, Homani Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri. No, a noob shot. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri, the snan, shloish lugim mayim choser kartov, shenofa letoicha and kartov yain. What happened? You have 3 lug of water. We discussed these 3 lug before. You have a mikvah that's 39.9 sa, not kosher yet. I can make it completely possible where I would have to drain out all the water. How? By introducing 3 lug of water. What if in the 3 lug of water, 0.5% of that 3 lug is wine? A kartov. It's a mashu of a mashu. It's 1/92 of 3 lug. There's literally 200 almost kartovs in 3 lug. One of those 190 kartovs is wine, and that changed the entire 3 lug into red. It looks red, it looks like wine. Says the Tanakama, Umarein kemari yain, now it looks like wine. V'naflu lemikva, loipes alua, it doesn't make the mikvah pasul. Shloish lugim mayim chaser kartov shenofal letoichan kartov cholav umareim kemariyayim benofal lemikva loy pesalu. Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer hakol hoylech achamara. We view everything. We go by what it looks. If it looks like a duck, if it looks like wine, then it's wine.
It's falling into non-kosher.
And wine doesn't pass a mikvah. So if you have 3 kart of wine, red 3 lug of wine that fall into a mikvah of 39.9 sa, it doesn't become possible. Lav Amar Rabbi Yochanan Basar Chazusa Azlinon. So Rabbi Yochanan holds in that case that we go by the looks. Hachanami Zil Basar Chazusa v'Taimo Chazusa Dahaimaya Ninu. And in our sugya, by the temed, you go according to what it looks like. And at the time of the sale, the temed was water. So that's all we care about. We don't care about what happens in 3 weeks from now. It fermented and turned into wine. At the time of the sale, it looked like wine, it looked like water, then it's water. And I was reminded, I said the story over, and there's a lot of kashas on the story. So I have a little bit, I couldn't come up with a good prop today, so I had this for there's a mekar from this sugya to those guys that I met in the hotel that left a big roshim on me, the tuna bagels. And you asked me, So I went, for those of you, the guys that weren't here, I was in a hotel for Pesach, and a large crowd of people that looked Hasidish, but weren't really Hasidim. Some of them weren't Shomer Torah mitzvahs, and they actually told us that they weren't. And some of them were dating Goyim, and they called themselves tuna bagels. So somebody asked me how it's spelled, so I Baruch Hashem, I found the correct spelling. This is how it's spelled. Yeah, this is a guy in Brooklyn that has this on his, what?
Chasidus, or this is just one guy?
No, this is far from Chasidus. So what happened was on Pesach, these guys, some people were saying that they were eating chametz on Pesach. And Motzei Yontif, I took my family to Netanya. And these guys, I befriended them and they were telling me all these crazy stories about they said they wanted to come to Netanya with me. They said, what are you doing? I said, I'm buying a kosher chametz-free pizza. He said, oh, it sounds great. They want to come. And they followed me to Netanya, and at the pizza shop, we were buying the pizza, and these guys were not having any of it. They were just walking in circles. They were very confused. And finally, they came over and said, listen, we're not buying the pizza because it looks like chametz. So it was mashma. I didn't want, if it looks like chametz, it's asur. But if it is chametz and it looks like matzah, then it's mutter. That's what basically came out from their thing. So this is a makar.
They look like that.
Yeah, if they look Hasidish, they all had pants and everything. Right. So this is makar. It's basar chazusa v'taima. It goes by what it looks like. We don't care that this is not wine. It doesn't taste like wine. At the end of the day, it looks like wine, so it doesn't pass. Al-Mikvah says Rebbe Yechon Menuri. Taisus brings up a very interesting thing. What about white wine? What do you guys think? White wine. It's 100% wine, but it looks like water. Does it pass Al-Mikvah? And Taisus says yes, it does. It does. Why? Because there's taste and look. There's also taste.
If you say it's totally in the marrow, totally in the is it totally if you hold it? It's
No, but the Gemara here, Rebbe Yechon Benuri only says chazusa. Rebbe Yechon says chazusa, but the Gemara brings beforehand mara also.
Okay.
Umareyem. So I'm sorry, taimo mara. So memela, you have to go by the taste as well. And since 3 lug of white wine is 100% wine, says Taisvus that it's considered wine, even though it looks like water. And that Rebbe Yechon Benuri would be masking that it's wine.
Unless you add a little bit of water.
If it's not complete 3, whoa! If you add a little bit of water to 3 lug of wine,
Yeah, then it looks
It depends on the time.
then it would depend on the time. Yeah, Lemaisa, it's a very strong taste of wine, so a little bit of water is not going to be vital that taste.
It's time, not color.
It's both. In white wine we're going by tam. In other words, you can play with both. If you take 3 lug of water and add 1 quart of yai into it, red wine, and it turns red, there's definitely no taste of wine. So over there you're just going basa chazusa. You're going by the look. But if you have 3 quarts of wine that looks exactly like water, that tastes like wine, then we're going by the taste. Taste and visual are both important things here.
I thought one could be much in a mikvah.
What?
One could make a mikvah for yourself. It was chaser.
No, it can't make it, doesn't pass on it. Says the Gemara, Upliga the Rebbe Lazar. Now going back to the first word in this Amud, that Reb Nachman says that the whole machlokes in the Mishnah is b'shehichmitz. This temed became fermented. Upliga the Rebbe Lazar. He's mechulak on Rebbe Lazar. The Omer Rebbe Lazar hakol moedim she'im mafrishim alav mimokim acher elam kein hichmitz. Rebbe Lazar comes up with a halacha that temed, you cannot take truma meiser from one temed on another temed, because I never know what one temed is going to perform. If one temed becomes fermented and the other one doesn't, then it's a ptur on a chiyuv. Then I have a bottle of temed that you don't have to take truma meisers from, and a bottle of temed that you do have to take truma meisers on. And what happens? Let's say I take truma meisers from either or. Any bottle, doesn't really matter. But let's say I take truma meisers from the real temed, from the wine, on the temed that's not real. So what happened is, when I'm being mafresh is tevel. It's not real truma, because truma is only chal on something real. I can't take truma on a table. I can't take truma on a glass of water. And then I take this truma and I give it to the kohen to eat. He's eating tevel. And he's chayiv misa, b'dei shumayim. Because it's nachal. I'm taking this truma. I'm saying, you see this wine right over here? I'm making this truma on my gemara. Is this chal? No. And it's part of a bottle of wine that wasn't trumas and meisers weren't taking from. I'm taking it on this.
He's eating other things with it that are tevel. This thing itself is not tevel.
It is.
It's chullin.
Yeah, it comes from
But there's no afreshus trumas and meisers from.
You didn't need it.
No, you have two bottles of wine. One is real, one is fake. One is water, one is wine. No trumas or meisers were taken from either bottle. Now I go and I take 10%, and I say this 10% should be chal on this bottle, on also the no good, but it's not chal. So the 10% that I have in my cup never became truma. And then I go ahead and I give that to the kohen and he eats it. Since it wasn't chal to begin with, then it came from a bottle that no trumas and meisers were taken from. And then what happens if the Yisrael drinks from that bottle? Then of course he's eating tevel, because it was never chal. Yet you see, but the Gemara is medayik from his lashon. The Gemara says you cannot be mafresh from one to the other, from one bottle to the other bottle, elam kein hichmitz, unless you know for certain that it fermented. Meaning that Rabbi Lazar holds, says the Gemara, that he took the trumas and meisers even before it fermented. The only way you could do it for sure one on the other is if it fermented. But before it fermented, it's also chayiv and truma. It just doesn't work one on the other. One on himself would work. It's not fermented yet. And Rav Nachman says that the whole machlokes is only when it fermented. So you see there, Rabbi Lazar is mechulek on Rav Nachman. There would be a chiyuv from within it itself. If you only have one bottle, then it would be a chiyuv even if it didn't ferment. But don't go from one bottle to another bottle. Maybe you'll go from a bottle that's chayv b'meiser to a bottle that's not chayv b'meiser, or vice versa. You'll go from a bottle that's not chayv b'meiser to a bottle that's chayv b'meiser, and that doesn't work. That you'll end up eating tevel, either the kohen or the Yisrael. Torah Rabbanan. This is also very, very interesting halacha. We know that kalim, a person, a kli, could go into mikvah, become tar. What about food? No, food cannot. There's one exception. Water. I could put water in the mikvah. It's pretty gross. But the water becomes tar. How? Through hashaka. I take a kli. This is all water that some guy Tameh touched, and I want to drink it. It's good water. So what do? I dunk it into the mikvah. I go real slowly until the mikvah water touches the water inside the kli. You make sure all the hair doesn't go in, all that stuff, and it touches, and then you pull it out and you drink it. It's geschmack.
Why is it drinking and not just for being tahar?
If you just pour it into the mikvah, then it becomes part of the mikvah anyways. If you have a mikvah that's more than 40 saw, I pour it into it. I want to drink this water. I want to drink it b'tahara. I can make my water tahar. It's very interesting. Now what's even more interesting is Rashi, who explains that the way it works is like planting, says Rashi. If you take truma that's tameh, you put it in the ground and plant it. By planting it, you remove the tumah from it. So this is like planting, says Rashi. And that would only work with water. It doesn't work with wine or anything else. Says the Gemara, Mashikoi b'mayim. I do this hashaka, which means like kissing. I kiss the two waters together, and it becomes tar. Meshehichmitz ein mashikoi b'mayim. Once this temet becomes fermented, so now it's no longer water, it's wine, and wine, the trick of hashaka, does not work for wine. So you can't do it on meshehichmitz.
Anything you pour into a full kosher mikvah is with butter.
No, you're not pouring it in. You're keeping it in its cup. You have a pail full of wine, which is tameh, and you go like this on the top, and on the surface of the water, you let the water touch the wine remains tameh. But if that wine was water, you have a full pail of water, and it just touches a little bit of the mikvah. Since it touched the mikvah, everything in the pail becomes tar. Omar Rava lo yishanu elo shetimdo b'mayim tahirim v'nitmu. This halacha is only said, and the Gemara is going to be mechulek on Rava. This halacha is only if you introduced tahar water to the grape sediments, and then later on that tahar water became tamei. I could do hashaka. Aval tmei mi kareloi. What if I introduced tamei water to the grape sediments? The water is already tamei once it touched the sediments. It doesn't work. Hashaka won't work. Gemara says, why? Where's the logic here? How could you make a distinction between tamei water and tar water? Hashaka should work on everything. Also, Rav Gavia from the place called Kosel, he went Amr l'shmaita coming to Rav Ashi. He said it over to Rav Ashi. So he says maybe the pshata is the amrina on aidi the mayi yakiri, since water is heavier than wine. Shachni tatoi, it goes to the bottom of the barrel. Upeire coffee mila'el, and the fruit, in other words, the wine goes to the top. So what did the hashaka touch? When I kissed the water of the mikvah, I just let a little bit of the water of the mikvah touch the top of my kli. All it touched was my wine, but it didn't touch the water underneath. And the bottom part of my barrel never got hashaka. Says the Gemara, that doesn't make any sense. So what's the difference when the water became tamei? Water is water. Ella mibalbali. So you have to say the difference is, or not the difference, but the reason why hashaka works with temed, because you don't differentiate between the fruity part and the water part of a temed. You just say everything is one liquid, it's wine, and memelo, if it touches the top, it goes all the way to the bottom. So then there's no difference between tamei and tar. Who cares when it became tamei, when it became tar? Once the mikveh touches the top part of your kli, then everything inside it should become tahar.
Isn't this like the mustard seeds?
What?
It might be as the mustard seeds, because in the male they also become.
Yeah, but no, this is much different. Mustard seeds are individual peiros, just they're miniature. No, but water always mixes up. It's one. That's what the Gemara says. You have to say mibabel. That's the Gemara's exact answer. That you don't view it as wine and water, wine on top and water on the bottom. It's just one mixture, one liquid, and it's all the molecules mix up. Taisus points out. Hold on a second. Taisus points out a very interesting question that all the Rishonim deal with. The halacha is, if you dunk into a mikvah with wine on your body, the tefillah is a good tefillah. Why? Because it's lach. It's liquid, and lach is not chaytzit. So then why does the Gemara say in the Havamina that if the wine is on top and the water is on the bottom, the wine makes a chatzitza to the water? It's lach. So it should go all the way through and through the wine. If the bottom part is a human being, you say, oh, the mikveh touched the human. But if the bottom part is water, it doesn't touch the water? Why not?
It wasn't water. It was sediment.
No. It's not solid. It's temed. What?
One will be metamed a second later, the minute you pull it out.
Right.
Because let's say it goes to, makes a tar now, pull it out the mikveh, it's going to make a tameh. The wine's never going to become tar.
The wine doesn't become tar.
Because it doesn't work with hashaka.
Maybe why? No, maybe I'll just pull out the wine from the top. I'll suck it out. If it stays on the top, if I say the 50% on top is wine, the 50% on the bottom is water, so I'll just siphon off the top. I'll pour it out. I don't know. I hear what you're saying. It's interesting chap, what you're saying. The Rishonim don't really say that teretz, but okay. All right, Zok the Mishnah. Kol mokoim sheyesh mecher ein knas. We're talking about a father who could sell his daughter, who's not a gdoila, as shifcha. So if she's a ktana, where he could sell her, so ein knas. If somebody was ma'anes her, somebody raped her, and he has to pay 50 shekel, not today's shekel, 50 shkolim, it's a big amount, then that means that the only way you pay the father knas is if she's a naira. This is only 6 months in her lifetime that she could be a naira that the father gets this benefit. From the age of 12 or gdoila till begeris, which is 6 months later. So says the Mishnah, we're continuing with the same theme. If you have this, you don't have that. If you have another thing, if you have
for naira, who gets the knas?
there is no knas. There's no knas.
And after naira, who gets the knas?
Naira the father.
And after naira,
No, that's it. Yeah.
When she's a katana.
No, even now, even by naira, she has to marry her. So kol mokim sheyesh mecher ein knas, v'chol mokim sheyesh knas. If she's a naira already, she's 12, she's a gdoila, and the father could collect a knas, ein mecher, then she's already too old to be sold. You can't sell somebody that a shifcha goes out at 12, so how could he sell her? If she was already sold, she goes out. I saw somebody making a face here. Like, well, selling a daughter, Hashem, you're okay. Fine.
And the glass line?
What about you have to marry her? Like Choyta Niskar. Mendy would hate that. Thank goodness he's not here today. Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav. Yeah.
You can never let her go, no matter what.
What about
You
her?
can't divorce her. She has the right.
Okay,
She has the
fine.
right. But you can never let her go.
Punishment gets to be another.
Yeah.
That's it.
Omer Rav Yehuda, Omer Rav. Zoi Divir Meir. Ava Chacham Meirim Yesh Knas B'Mokim Mecher. Now, check this out. It says in the pasuk, "V'nosan ha'ish hashoichev imo lavi hanaro chamishim kesef," and the pasuk continues. But it says here that she has to be a naira. That's how we know she has to be at least a gdoilo, whatever gdoilo is. But look, it says naira without a hey. So Chacham say, anytime it says naira without a hey, it means even a ktana. So Mamela, say Chachamim, there's a knas even for a girl that's not mature. Ava Chachamim yesh knas b'mokoy mecher. The sanyo ktana v'asyo mecher that shetovish teisaris yesh lo mecher ve'in lo knas. Meshetovish teisaris that sheti boger. There's really three stages here. You could sell her, but there's no knas. Once she brings 2 cyrus until bagros, there's a knas, but you cannot sell. In other words, for 6 months. Ein mecher. Any place that there's a knas, there's no mecher. There's a story about Rabbi Yonasan Eifshitz. What? Yeah. But Remeir Oimer Kol Mokim Sheyesh. That's the pointer of the story. It's an amazing story. Rabbi Yonasan Eifshitz, when he was a kid, before bar mitzvah, they say, he gave a Purim Torah, and he said that why did Esther send to Mordechai Lech Kenoises HaYehudim? Go gather the Yehudim. He said the pshat is because knois means go give a knas to the Jews, and memela, if there's a knas, there's no mecher. So the mechira of this is on Purim, the mechira of Achashverosh the Haman of the Jews is not going to be chal. So some genius jumped up and said, "Wait a minute! It says knois with the chaf, not knois with the kuf." He says, "Yeah, but it goes according to Remeir, and Remeir holds that you're allowed to lay in the Megillah Bal Peh. So if you're laying about peh, there's no enough gemina. This is a 12-year-old. Fine. Says the Gemara. You have to be at least 3 years old, because 3 years old is royal bia. So there's a knas all the way from 3 until bagros. Says Gemara, knas in mecherloi. We were discussing that there's certainly mecher. The question was if there's knas. Now you tell me there's only knas. Ema av knas b'mokim mecher. Talking about knas b'mokim mecher. Says Rashi, if you want to see inside, there's 3 steps. Says Rashi. Ema av knas yeshlo. V'af api sheyesh mecher. Even though you could sell her, mishtira lebio at shetovish teisaris. Bekoydim shetira lebio yesh mecher ben knas. Before she's 3, you could still sell her, but there's no knas because you have to. For knas, it has to be royal lebio, but mecher doesn't have to be royal lebio. Umishetovish teisaris. Vashtiboger yesh knas v'loy mecher. And once she's a gdoila, then there's a knas and there's no selling. Ubein bagros l'nairos shisha chadashim. Says the Mishnah. Kol mokim shesh miyun ein chalitza. Miyun is, the halacha is that a father could marry off his daughter a ketana. And that kiddushin is 100%. So if the guy wants to divorce her, he has to give her a get. If she doesn't like it, it's too bad. She can't get out. Now, if the father died, so she's an orphan, her brother or her mother could marry her off. But it's not a real kiddushin to the point where if at any moment she doesn't like it, she just says, I don't like it. I don't want to be married, and the kiddushin is nullified. What happens the day after she becomes a gdoila? She never nullified it, and she becomes a gdoila. The second later, she automatically becomes properly married. Kol mogim sheyesh miyun. So if she's a ktana, when do you do miyun? When she's a ktana. She says, I don't want to be married to this guy. Because her mother married her off, she doesn't like the guy. She says, I don't want to be married.
It is only
Then,
if her father married off.
no, if the father married her off, it's 100% kiddushin, she cannot do miyun. This is a derabanan kind of kiddushin, and therefore she could be mimayim. But if she's so young that she could do miyun, meaning she's not a gdoila yet, then ein chalitza. Because by chalitza, it says ish. And a man and a woman are compared to each other. Just like it has to be a boy over the age of 13, or a gadol, so too she, for chalitza, has to be a gdoila. V'chomakim, she has chalitza, and automatically, if she's a gdoila, and she can perform chalitza on her, then there's no miyun.
So when this 8-year-old girl says, I don't want to be married to this guy anymore, that's the chalos, when she says it at the
Right, with her mouth. If it's a kiddushin
All
d'Rabbanan.
of a sudden, Talim have das to say it.
Yes,
and then-
because
Not a real kiddushin.
it's not a real kiddushin, it's only d'Rabbanan.
Because when they take what-
Brother, a special thing, brother and mother do it, it's not a real
What about the other
kiddushin.
way around, like we said?
She's not really Rishus. She's not really Rishus. She didn't belong to the mother. It's not at all.
No, there's no yibum. There's no yibum by that we said you're not allowed to do yibum. Yeah, we only have 5 minutes. Let's go. Omer Rav Yud Omer Rav. Zoi Devir Meir. Avachach Omer Yesh Miyun b'Mokem Chalitza. You could perform miyun. Yesh miyun b'Mokem Chalitza. The Sanya Ad Mosai Abbas Mima Enes Ad Shetovish Tei Saris. When could she perform miyun? When she's a ktana. Devir Rav Meir. Rav Yud Omer Ad Sheyar B'Hashochal Al Lavan. When there's more, so Rashi says it doesn't literally mean there's more hair than skin. It means there's shtei saros that are long and they lay flat, and that's what it means. That's shiyar. So it means it's a further stage. It's not like the day she gets shtei saros. It's much further on the road where it's called yarba hashachar ala lava. Says the Mishnah. Now, real quickly. In the time of the Gemara, like we have a siren before Shabbos that goes off, they also had a siren, it was a shofar, and they would blow the shofar approximately an hour before Shabbos to let everybody in the fields know, time to come home. Then they would do a trua, that was a tekiah. Then they do a trua to let everybody know, close your shops. And then they do another tekiah, and they'll let everybody know, put your stuff on the oven, light the candles, and then they do a tekiah real quickly, and that was Shabbos. That's Mamish Shabbos. So, says the Mishnah, Kol Mokum Sheyesh Tkiya Ein Havdalah. If we're talking about Erev Shabbos, where there is a Tkiya, so then there's no Havdalah. Even if it means that we're going, in other words, if you go from Yontif into Shabbos, so now Shabbos is more Kaddish than Yontif, so yes, there might be a tekiah to differentiate between Yontif and Shabbos, but there's no Havdalah. We'll see more in the Mishnah. V'chol makom sheyesh Havdalah ein tekiah. And if you're doing Havdalah, what's Havdalah? Shemon Esrei, you say Havdalah, or and the cup Havdalah, then there's no tekiah. You can't have both. If you have a tekiah, then you don't have Havdalah. If you have Havdalah, you don't have a tekiah. In other words, says the Mishnah, Yontif shechal is be'erev Shabbos. You have Yontif, that's on Friday. Toikim. So Friday evening, you do a tekiah. Why? Because you're telling everybody that the Kedusha now is different. You can't do Oichel Nefesh anymore. You should stop cooking like you were used to cooking on Yontif. Now I have to make a tekiah to tell everybody, no more cooking. V'loim avdilim, and you don't do Havdalah on the cup or in Shemon Esrei. B'matzai Shabbos, but if Matzai Shabbos goes into Yontif, Mavdilin, you make Havdalah, like we say, Ben Kodesh LeKodesh, V'loi Toikin, and you don't do a Tekiah, because you're going into a lower Kedusha. Ketan Mavdilim, HaMavdil Ben Kodesh LeKodesh. You say HaMavdil Ben Kodesh LeKodesh. Rav Dois Omer, Ben Kodesh Chomor LeKodesh HaKal. You're kind of being mevayish Yontif. You're saying Kodesh Chol Kodesh Kal. Heichi Tekeya. Now, between Shabbos and Yontif, how do you do Yontif that goes into Shabbos? How do you blow the shofar? Because says Rashi, it has to be a little different than usual. You have to make a shinui to show people that we're going from Yontif to Shabbos. You do a tkiyah and immediately go into the truah.
You're making a tkiyah on Yontif. That's not the question?
No. Ravasi Omar, Tekeya Maria Benishima Achas. You don't go tkiyah right into teruah. You make a big stop in between the tkiyah and teruah, but it's in one breath. And that would be the siman. Asking Ravasi Behutza Keshmaite, Ravasi said that you do in one breath. Meisvei, Yontif Shechalis Be'er Shabbos Toikim Ve'loi Marian, my lav Loi Marian Klal. It seems like you don't do any teruah when Yontif goes into Shabbos. Loi. Rav Yehuda Mitaris Tamei, Ravasi Mitaris Tamei. It just means Rav Yehuda Mitaris Tamei, Loi Marian B'fnei Atzma, Tkiyah. Not that you don't do a teruah, just you do a tkiyah and a teruah right away. It's different. It doesn't mean you don't do a truah, just means you do it in one breath, which it's called that you're not doing a truah. How's Avdol in Motzi Shabbos? Says the Gemara, so I have it, we don't have time for this, but we all know how we do it. All the way at the end, you say, Baruch Atah Hashem, Hamavde ben Kodesh LeKodesh. But not up here, Baruch Atah Hashem, it should say, Hamavde ben Kodesh, maybe LeKodesh. In the beginning of Dala, we always say Hamavda ben Kodesh l'chol. At the end, we finish off ben Kodesh l'kodesh. Why? Only at the end. Rav Sheish Bereder Rav Yidi Omar ab bepsichasa v'lei silchas hakavasei. And we'll see now. We'll just finish this real quickly. What's the pshat? Reb Doi Soimer ben Kodesh Chom l'kodesh kal v'lei silchas hakavasei, because you mezalzel in Yontav. You're calling it Kodesh Kal. It's not nice. Yontav Shechali is be'emtza Shabbos. Yontav that comes out in the middle of the week on a Tuesday. Oimer hamavde ben kodesh l'chol, benoy l'choshech, ben Yisrael ha'amim, be'yoyim hashvi l'sheshizim ha'amase. You see in blue, be'yoyim hashvi l'sheshizim ha'amase. But it's not yoyim hashvi. It's Tuesday. So why are you saying be'yoyim hashvi? My time, say the havdalah sumayna. You're saying everything that has a difference in the Torah. There's a difference between night and day. Right now it's night, so why are you mentioning day? Because there's a difference between night and day. There's no goyim in front of us. You say, Ben Yisrael Ha'amim. So too, even though it's not Shabbos, he's saying that. So in Mela, in the beginning of Avdala also, that explains why before, in the beginning of Avdala, he said, Ben Kodesh L'chol. Because it has nothing to do with today. You're saying, HaKadosh Baruch Hu made Avdala Ben Kodesh L'chol. At the end, we're saying Ben Kodesh L'kodesh, because today, it's Ben Kodesh L'kodesh. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you very much.